Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boise. I'm Sean McDonough. We hope to have that kind of excitement for you here tonight. Kevin Nixon's 54-footer at the buzzer against UTEP gave BYU the right to meet LSU here tonight in the NCAA tournament. And with that responsibility comes the prospect of facing Shaquille O'Neal, perhaps the best player in college basketball, certainly one of the most popular. This is a scene from yesterday's practice. Thousands of fans filed into the BSU pavilion, and hundreds of them besieged Shaquille for his autograph. Pleased to be joined by Bill Walton, himself one of the great big men in college basketball history. And Bill, you've had a chance to tutor Shaquille O'Neal in the past. What is the best way for Gary Trost, the outstanding center for BYU, and the rest of the Cougars to stop him?
The best way to play against Shaquille O'Neal is to make him shoot the ball. That's the weakest part of his game. He's an outstanding, all-around, physically intimidating basketball player. Shooting the basket 6 feet away, that's his weakness. Plus, on the other end of the court, you've got to attack him offensively. You can't just passively give him the defensive end of the court. You've got to shoot the ball from the perimeter and take it to him down low when you get the opportunity.
Let's meet the starting lineups for tonight's game between BYU and LSU. For the Cougars, Kevin Nixon and Jared Miller are the forwards. Gary Trost, the all-WAC center. Nathan Call and Mark Heslop, the guards. For LSU, Vernell Singleton and Clarence Caesar are the forwards. Shaquille O'Neal in the middle. Jamie Brandon is the point guard, and Maurice Williamson, the two guard. The Cougars huddled around Roger Reed in his third season as head coach at BYU, and Dale Brown in his 20th season as head coach at LSU. He has the Tigers in the postseason for the 14th consecutive year. The officials: Eric Harmon from Monticello, Indiana, Tim Higgins from Ramsey, New Jersey, and Steve Wellmer from Columbus, Indiana. Shaquille O'Neal and the LSU Tigers bring a record of 20-9 into this one. Gary Trost and the Cougars of BYU at 25-6, the regular season and tournament champions of the Western Athletic Conference. Tim Higgins will throw the ball in the air. O'Neal and Trost to jump. BYU in the blue, LSU in the white. And we're underway. Shaquille tipped it back to Jamie Brandon.
Man-to-man defense right off the bat for BYU.
Not expecting the pass was Vernell Singleton as Williamson threw it to him. Lobbed into O'Neal for the easy two. Nice entry pass by Clarence Caesar.
If BYU allows O'Neal to get that deep and receive the ball, it's going to be a long night for the Cougars.
Trost muscles his way in, gets the bucket, and O'Neal commits the game's first foul.
Apparently the strategy for BYU is going to go right at O'Neal. Trost putting the ball on the floor numerous times. The guards have got to back up. O'Neal did get his finger on the ball. Not enough to deflect the direction. Trost will shoot a free throw here.
Trost, a junior from Salt Lake City. In and out, rebounded by O'Neal. 2-2 the score. We've played 40 seconds here in Boise.
They're really backing off Vernell Singleton, number 52, Miller in blue.
That's a three-point field goal for Clarence Caesar. Nate Paul, strong drive, missed a left-handed layup. O'Neal tipped it out to Vernell Singleton. It's 3-on-1, and Brandon lays it in. 7-2 Tigers.
Fast start for LSU. Very important for them, trying to intimidate. Oh, someone left wide open.
There's Jared Miller, but O'Neal swatted it away. Then Nixon followed it up with a two-point field goal.
We've seen lots of shot blocking today. That time O'Neal hitting the ball far too hard, knocking it right out so BYU can regain control of it.
Shaq averages 5 blocks per game. O'Neal double team. BYU has 7 players on the team that go 6'7" or taller. That's Maurice Williamson knocking in the second three for LSU, and the Tigers lead by 6. Nixon for 3. is the kind of game we expect up and down the floor. Both teams like the 94-foot game, particularly LSU.
Right in O'Neal's face, Miller going to have to respect O'Neal's jumping ability and try to out-quick him to the hoop rather than go over the top of him.
Trost takes the ball away short. Jared Miller, the offensive rebound for 2.
The forwards for LSU, Singleton and Caesar, they're going to have to do a better than average job because the forwards for BYU are very big, good rebounders, particularly Miller.
LSU just did beat the count of the backcourt. Singleton missed and then committed the foul as he tried to go after the miss. That's the first foul on Vernell Singleton and the second against LSU. And the first substitute of the game is Harold Boudreau, wearing number 32. He's in for Singleton. 10-6 Tigers. We've played 2.5 minutes.
LSU soft defensively, not putting any pressure on Nathan Call.
Nixon gave it to Call, the senior point guard from Mission Viejo, California. Dale Brown says he is by far the best point guard in the WAC. Miller had it deflected by O'Neal and taken in by Boudreau.
Good rotation that time by Boudreau. It's going to be a big key for LSU. When Shaquille O'Neal goes for the block, the forwards have to rotate in.
Trost fouled O'Neal during the shot.
The previous play, Miller inside against O'Neal, is intimidated out of the play. Might have been touched. Trost in there over the back of Boudreau.
Boudreau quickly out, and Singleton returns after a very brief breather. Brandon lobs it into O'Neal. He tried to flip it back to Brandon, and Jamie wasn't expecting it.
A great idea.
Did you teach him that move?
No, I only teach him the ones that went in. But the guy who inbounds the ball is often wide open, stepping back into the court.
Trost to Nixon, short from three-point land. Williamson quickly into the front court. Williamson for 3. Rebound down to Russell Larson, number 32, the freshman who's come on for the Cougars. Trost nearly traveled, rushed the shot up. O'Neal rebounded the miss. Brandon off quickly. The layup missed, but the follow good by Singleton, cleaning up the miss by Caesar.
O'Neal has to be very careful about picking up fouls. He has to stay in this ball game. BYU has so many tall players that they can keep rotating in, trying to get physical with O'Neal.
Russell Larson, a couple of good fakes, but again, O'Neal affected the shot. Nixon tried to force it underneath. Great play. Caesar threw it out of bounds off Larson. It will be LSU ball when we come back. LSU leads by 6, and already Shaquille O'Neal has made his presence known. BYU came into this game shooting 50% as a team from the floor, but they're 3 for 11, 27%, and many of the shots altered by Shaq.
One thing he does so well is keep his feet when they pump fake a lot. When BYU's postman or anybody who's next to O'Neal trying to pump fake, they want to think about moving away from O'Neal rather than just pumping and then going straight up with it in the same shot they just faked.
Shaquille to Maurice Williamson. The junior guard from New Haven, Connecticut, gave it to Brandon. Now Vernell Singleton. Down to 13 on the shot clock. For those of you just joining us, we welcome you to Boise, Idaho. Scene of first-round action in the West region. LSU leads by 6. And they did not get a shot to hit the rim within 45 seconds. Sean McDonough along with Bill Walton. The story to this point, as you might expect, Shaquille O'Neal changing the offense of BYU.
His defense has been outstanding. Offensively, O'Neal, not very many opportunities so far. They're doubling up. They're collapsing. BYU is forcing O'Neal to be a passer so far.
Shaquille with 3 rebounds, a block shot, and he's only had 1 shot attempt, which he made. This is Nathan Cole. The point guard gave it to Kevin Nixon for 3 from the corner short, rebounded by Williamson. Now Brandon fouled, and that will be a shooting foul as Mark Heslop hit him.
O'Neal on the zone defense that time. Keep an eye on him during the course of the game. He plays very low underneath the basket. I think he should move up a couple of steps toward the foul line. It'll allow his teammates to press out on the perimeter a little bit more, and then he'll have better rebounding position coming back and attacking the defensive glass.
Jamie Brandon at the line. Sophomore from Chicago. For a while, he had a difficult adjustment to the point guard position for Dale Brown this year. And Coach Brown was a little bit upset. An all-sports radio station down in Baton Rouge had a poll asking the listeners who should be the point guard for LSU. Jamie Brandon didn't win, and Dale thought that was unfair to the young man who takes a seat after making 1 free throw. And as is often the case, Coach Brown vented his opinion on that subject.
The players don't get a vote. The fans don't get a vote. The coach makes those kinds of decisions.
This is Nick Sanderson just in for the Cougars, wearing number 20. He is a 3-point specialist. And there he goes. 4-3.
One of the reasons LSU plays a lot of zone defense is to minimize O'Neal's foul trouble.
At the other end, Caesar with the miss. Backed down by Larson in the corner, knocked out by Williamson. It will be Brigham Young ball.
But that zone defense allows other teams to spot up. When you have a great big man, I think you want to play man-to-man and really extend the defense.
Caesar steals the pass intended for Larson. 3-on-1 break. Williamson lays it in. 5 points for Maurice Williamson. The lead is 6, the largest lead for the Tigers, 7. BYU has not led in the game to this point.
As we've seen in every game today, the Georgetown game, the Florida State game, fast breaks being keyed by the defense, a real key for both teams.
O'Neal, the second block of the Larson shot, then Miller missed from short range, obviously affected by Shaquille.
Good patience by O'Neal that time. Not going for the fakes, not trying for blocks he can't possibly make.
Larson didn't get it to fall. O'Neal the rebound, his 4th. .13:05 to play in the first half. Mike Hansen missed a 3. He's just off the bench. The Cougars look to push it. Paul bumped into Williamson, who was called for the block.
The charge block call, the most difficult for all officials. Looked like the contact was initiated by Paul. Williamson was sliding to his right. They called it a block.
Jamie Brandon returns. Mike Hansen goes to the LSU bench. Russell Larson takes a seat for BYU. It's now Trost, Miller, Sanderson, Call, and Heslop for BYU. O'Neal, Singleton, Caesar, Brandon, and Paul Marshall, number 25, who's just come in for LSU. That's a travel called against Mark Heslop. 3 turnovers against the Cougars.
First time we've seen the zone defense for BYU tonight.
O'Neal bothered by Miller as he shot. Nice save in the corner by Nick Sanderson.
Again, BYU forcing O'Neal to shoot the ball rather than get to the basket and dunk it. What a great block.
Miller has no idea what to do now. He's tried pump fakes, he's tried fall-aways, he's tried shooting as soon as he catches it, and nothing is working for Jared Miller.
Miller that time has no idea that O'Neal is that quick. You'd think they would because they played all last year in practice every day against Sean Bradley, 7 feet 6 inches tall, now on a mission down in Australia.
BYU 1 for their last 10. The Shaq factor indeed. Sanderson short on 3-point land. Miller kept it alive for Heslop. Heslop's a senior from Ogden, Utah. Call into Trost. Again, Shaquille got a piece of it.
But that's a good strategy by BYU to go at him, try to get him in foul trouble. He's got one right now.
Caesar's three around the rim and out, rebounded by Gary Trost. 15-9 LSU. Sanderson in and out. Trost got a hand on it. Heslop softly off the glass for two.
When you're a great rebounder like O'Neal, you often fail to block out. When he has that much physical ability, he's just allowing Trost to do whatever he wants in the offensive glass.
Boudreau missed. O'Neal the offensive rebound. 4 Cougars around him, and Call stripped the ball. Sanderson open for 3. It's a 1-point game. Paul Marshall gave it up to Brandon. Marshall is a freshman from Shreveport, and that's a 3-pointer. He broke all of Robert Parrish's high school scoring records in the Shreveport area.
LSU going into their matchup zone defense this time.
Miller still can't get one to fall. Marshall. And the foul on Brandon for pushing off on the offensive rebound. Jared Miller of BYU now 1 for 6 as he tries to deal with Shaquille O'Neal. 10.5 minutes to play in the first half. It's LSU by 4. The city of Boise, Idaho, hosting NCAA tournament action for the 3rd time. Tonight it's first round action of the West region. LSU against BYU. And the Tigers have a 4-point lead with 10.5 minutes to play in the first half. Brigham Young with the ball in the blue uniforms. Sean McDonough along with Bill Walton and Andrea Joyce. Trost gave it to Call. Sanderson hitting for his 3rd 3. The loose ball came down to Trost.
A lot of offensive rebounds for BYU.
Sanderson missed. Trost got a hand on it. Shaquille O'Neal is not in the game at the moment.
There have been 17 rebounds for BYU to this point. 10 of them have been offensive.
For those of you just joining us, welcome to Boise, where LSU has a 4-point lead. Tigers have led throughout. Russell Larson with 2 on a nice pass from Nick Sanderson. The largest lead for LSU, clad in the white, 7 points. Jamie Brandon shut off by Mark Heslop.
LSU off to a fairly good start right now. Their offense, though, has been mainly a result of their tough defense, which is anchored by O'Neal, who's now on the bench.
Williamson with a tough one-hander that wouldn't fall. Trost the rebound. This is Nate Paul, the point guard, number 23. He's on the floor with Sanderson and Heslop, a 3-guard lineup. Larson and Trost, the forwards. And Larson's shot was short. This is Brandon with the ball, number 4 for LSU. Joined by Justin Anderson, Gert Hummock, Renell Singleton, and Maurice Williamson for LSU. Singleton's follow was short. And it's corralled along the line by Russell Larson.
Singleton has to get those easy shots to go down to open up the basket area for LSU's offense.
Sanderson has suddenly gone cold. He's 2 of 7 from the floor, and here's Shaquille back in. Hammock goes to the bench, as does Williamson, as Clarence Caesar has returned, and that's Kevin Nixon replacing Mark Heslop for Brigham Young. BYU 7 for 28 from the floor, 25%. Sanderson remains cold. The follow, and there's contact. That's the 2nd foul against Shaquille O'Neal.
The long, wild shot garnered by Trost on the far side. O'Neal leaning over the top, as every BYU player has been told in this ball game, go right at him, right through him. Take the chance of an offensive foul. Maybe we'll pick up one on O'Neal.
3 points for Trost. 5 team fouls now against LSU. BYU has committed only 2. And the first team all-WAC center this year, Gary Trost, made 2. And BYU has come from 7 behind to tie it up at 18. O'Neal, too strong. O'Neal, very strong. He'll have a chance for a 3-point play. Jared Miller committed the foul, his first, the team's 3rd.
BYU forcing O'Neal to shoot the ball. He loves to get to the basket and dunk it. That's what he thinks offensively. When he does have an opportunity to shoot the ball, he's often missed. That time he got his own rebound and put back in an even shorter shot.
O'Neal misses. Shaquille with 4 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 block shots. We've played less than 12 minutes. Miller blocked by O'Neal. Nixon dropped it out of bounds. It will be LSU ball.
Great patience by O'Neal that time. Miller got in the deep post. I think the O'Neal-led defense by LSU is allowing the BYU post players to get inside too easily, but that time O'Neal with the great block.
Shaquille came in averaging 5 blocks a game. He already has 5. The NCAA tournament record in a single game, 10 blocks, set by BYU's Sean Bradley last year against Virginia in a first-round game. Nathan Call, whistle, offensive foul. First foul on Call. Timeout on the floor. LSU with a 2-point lead here in Boise.
All right, coming out of that officials timeout in Boise, there's Shaq with 2 personal fouls, 4 block shots so far. But let's give you a full region reset. First in the Southeast, Mississippi Valley State, Ohio State. And Billy, Mississippi Valley State scored the game's first 4 points, and then Ohio State went on a 33-4 run.
Well, Alfonso Ford, who's been the #2 scorer in the nation for the last 3 years, Jim, is 3 for 14. If they were going to have any chance whatsoever, he had to come up with a big game.
Last year, Ohio State was a 1 seed, sluggish in the first round against Towson State, and eventually lost in the regional semifinals, but looking good tonight. Now, Houston and Georgia Tech. Tech leads it by 11 with that free throw. 3:06 to go in the first half. Billy, what about 3-point shooting?
Well, you know, Houston trying to pick up tempo, but they're not getting the ball inside at all. They're 1 for 13 from the 3-point line. And of course, that'll bury you in any kind of game. But I think they still have an opportunity to go inside and test Georgia Tech. Try to make Georgia Tech have to go to the bench.
Houston's the 10 seed in the Midwest. Georgia Tech the 7 seed, but a lot of folks were hot on Houston going into tonight.
Well, I certainly would have been one of those people. They won the Southwest Conference tournament, beating Texas, their first win over Texas after 2 losses. But this club was on a roll, and I thought they would be prepared to really march in this tournament.
Well, let's tell everybody about the Fighting Camels of Campbell going against Duke. Campbell, now this is the first possession of the second half, and a steal right away by Duke. And
Jim, they've only shot 19% in the first half, scored 16 points. But everybody knew from the get-go that this was going to be an insurmountable task for Campbell. It's just great to see them get an opportunity to get in the tournament.
Thomas Hill scores the first 2 of the second half. Campbell missed its last 14 shots of the first half. So the 1 seeds looking safe, Duke and Ohio State. And Billy, what about this game out in Boise?
Another solid matchup, and I think the key is going to be, again, that there are superior athletes, in my estimation, on the LSU club. With Shaquille O'Neal, you can see him right now patrolling that low post position, not even guarding a man, but just saying, I'll take anything that comes into the lane, playing that matchup zone that Dale Brown uses so often. And here we get an opportunity to see Shaquille just alter the shot by looking at the shooter.
Well, let's take it back out to our guys courtside. with that long monster 3 attempt to beat the shot clock. And here's Sean and Bill.
Thank you, Jim. As Billy mentioned, Shaquille intimidating the shot inside, and as a result, they had to launch that 3 as the 45-second clock expired, and Sanderson's shot was well off the mark. The only scoring, while Jim and Billy took you on the tour of the other regions, a 3-point play by Shaquille O'Neal. He scored, was fouled, and made the free throw. And it's 23-18 in favor of LSU with 6.5 to play in the first half. O'Neal was pushed as he went to accept the pass.
Excellent flash that time by O'Neal from the weak side into the deep post. Boudreau, though, the post feeder, he's got to zip that ball in there the minute O'Neal steps in and gets good position down deep. If he has to wait for that ball, it's just too late.
TJ Pugh. Boy, you'd think BYU would have been ready for that since Shaquille tried it earlier in the half, but they weren't, and TJ had the easy 2 on the pass from O'Neal.
O'Neal, certainly a great passer. His willingness to pass, a big factor in the development of this young LSU team.
That's a 2-point field goal for Kevin Nixon. It's 25-20 Tigers as we tick down towards 6 minutes remaining in the first half. O'Neal too strong. Foul on the rebound action against Harold Boudreau. LSU with a 5-point lead, powered by Shaquille O'Neal. 5 blocks already, 7 rebounds, or 1 negative for O'Neal, the 2 fouls. And as a result of his intimidating presence, BYU is shooting 23% from the floor.
One thing that might be effective for BYU is when they get it into their post guys, Larson, Trost, wait for the defense to collapse and then kick it back out.
Mark Santiago telegraphed that pass. Boudreau, count the bucket. He'll go to the line with a chance for 3.
Boudreau's had an up and down season, fills the lane, fed nicely, and he just finishes strong at the hoop. He'll shoot a free throw here. Just recovering from knee surgery. Nice to see that he's playing pain-free and able to get out there and not have to think about that leg as he's going strong to the hoop.
It cost him to miss 5 games late in the year. Boudreau, a senior from Arnoldville, Louisiana. All of a sudden, the Tigers enjoy their largest lead, 8 points. Vernell Singleton returns to the lineup. Boudreau went to the bench. It's now Pugh and Williamson in the backcourt for LSU. O'Neal, Singleton, and Caesar, the starting frontcourt. For BYU, Sanderson, Santiago, Nixon, Larson, and Trost. That's Larson with block number 6 from Shaquille O'Neal.
Excellent block. It did stay in bounds. O'Neal, though, is going to run into trouble if he keeps allowing them to catch the ball so deep.
Singleton's 3 spun out. 8-point lead for LSU. We tick down toward 5 minutes remaining. Sanderson around the rim and out. O'Neal with his 8th rebound to go along with those 6 blocks, and he has 7 points. Caesar, short. Corralled by Kevin Nixon. Mark Santiago in the backcourt now for BYU. He's number 25 with the ball, the senior from Provo. Sanderson still launching the 3s. Finally, he gets one to drop. He's 3 for 11, but all 3 of his field goals have been 3-pointers, and he has 9 points.
When you have a great shot blocker like O'Neal, get out on the perimeter. Get in these guys' faces.
Williamson scores, and he was fouled by Russell Larson.
A moment ago, Russell Larson in the middle. O'Neal right behind him. He's just waiting. The time elapsed between the delivery of the shot and O'Neal. He's a second late, but he's so quick, he can make that second up and still get to the ball.
Now I want to take you back to something I heard you say as O'Neal inches toward the record by Bradley. Bear in mind, there's still 4:07 left in the first half. On CBS last week, you said Shaquille O'Neal is not ready for the NBA, in your opinion. After this, have you changed your mind?
He's got a long way to go. This is a team that lost 7 games last year. We've already lost 9 games this year. Basketball is all about winning. Until you learn how to control each and every game, I don't think you're ready to be considered one of the great all-time players. Trost picks up an offensive foul.
He leaned into O'Neal, trying to draw the 3rd foul from Shaquille, but Tim Higgins called him for the offensive foul. Shaquille O'Neal on the bench. And we welcome those of you who are just joining us. LSU has an 8-point lead. Shaquille almost with a triple-double here in the first half. And I want to go back to the conversation we were having just prior to the timeout. This is Gert Hammack, who's into the game for O'Neal, and Williamson short after pulling up the 2. Obviously, Bill, Shaquille could play in the NBA today, but what you're saying is he really could benefit from more college experience because he's not the dominating player you think he can be.
I think so. He does have the 2 fouls sitting on the bench right now, but when you look at O'Neal, you're looking at possibly the game's next great player. And this is a man who's going to be playing professional basketball for many, many years to come. Let's not take away his childhood, not take away this wonderful experience in college basketball, which is great in and of itself. Plus, I think he needs to develop a few more skills.
You mentioned before the break the record of LSU, 20-9, and the implication was that perhaps Shaquille is underachieved because if he was a truly dominating player, LSU would have a better record than that.
Look at the great players in the history of the game. One thing they've always done is make the people around them better. I think O'Neal needs to learn how to do that.
Heslop had to throw it up. The shot clock was at 2. Caesar held ball as Russell Larson tied him up, and the ball will go back to the Cougars. Eight-point lead for the Tigers, under 3 minutes to play in the first half. The winner of this one meets the winner of Indiana Eastern Illinois coming up next here in Boise. Nice pass and a great catch by Williamson on the feed from Clarence Caesar.
That has been the offense for LSU tonight. Trapping defense, pressing on the perimeter, get a turnover and get out in transition. The set offense has been totally ineffective for the Tigers. Nice steal on the out-of-bounds play. Caesar ahead to Williamson. Great sense of where he is. O'Neal says yes. I would doubt if we'll see O'Neal the rest of the first half with a nice lead for LSU right now. We don't want to risk him picking up his 3rd foul.
It's the Tigers' largest lead, 10 points at 33-23 with 2.5 minutes to play. Nixon inbounded. He's on the floor with Miller, Larson, Paul, and Heslop for BYU. It's Pugh, Williamson, Hammack, Caesar, and Singleton for LSU. Kevin Nixon drops in a 3. Seven points for Nixon. BYU now 4 of 15 from 3-point range. On the back cut, Williamson lays it in. He's up to 12 points to lead the Tigers.
Interesting that it's just now, late in the season for LSU, that Williamson and Brandon are getting significant time in the backcourt.
Nixon's shot was well short, but Heslop took the ball away from Singleton in the corner. Larson shuffled his feet. Traveling call against BYU, the 8th turnover committed by the Cougars. Williamson leading the way for the Tigers, and Nick Sanderson pacing the Cougars with 9 points as Harold Boudreau has returned for Vernell Singleton.
Even though O'Neal's on the bench, it still looks like BYU is affected by his presence there. Looking for him, wondering where's he going to come from next to block the shot. He can't come from off the bench, though.
I think the point Billy Packer made was a good one. The superior athleticism of LSU, a big factor here in the first half, as Boudreau knocked down the foul line jumper, and he now has 5 points.
If they feel they're superior athletically, why aren't they out pressing on the perimeter, trying to get more turnovers?
Nathan Cole with the baseline jumper. That's his first basket of the night. He's a second team all WAC selection this year, although Utah coach Rick Majerus says the call is by far the best point guard in the WAC. Dale Brown agrees with that. Seizure the miss. That's a good question you just raised. We saw Florida State in the previous game here in Boise, a superior athletic team against Montana, and they pressed and forced the issue the entire game. LSU has played a rather passive style. TJ Pugh leading a 3-on-2 break. He couldn't make up his mind and turned it over to Mark Heslop, 7th turnover against LSU.
Poor decision by TJ Pugh that time. Take the ball to the basket on the break, spread the defense, and then when they stop you, then get in the air and pass the ball. Don't get in the air first.
The shot clock is off. BYU will hold for the last shot, trailing by 9. The Tigers have more than held their own since Shaquille O'Neal went to the bench. Larson bumped. It will be a 2-shot foul. The foul committed by Gert Hamik, the junior from the Netherlands, picks up his first.
Sean, it's not just a difference in athletic ability. I think the style for LSU, and they're getting all their shooting opportunities inside. That's keeping BYU from getting into their running game. They are an up and down the court team. They've got a lot of guys who can run. Nathan Call in transition is excellent. He loves to kick ahead, but because LSU is shooting almost exclusively from inside the paint, almost directly underneath the basket, BYU is not able to get any fast break opportunities.
Here's Russell Larson, the WAC Freshman of the Year. It's the second straight year that Roger Reed has coached the WAC Freshman of the Year. Sean Bradley won that honor last year. He's away serving a 2-year mission for the Mormon Church in Australia. Still time for another LSU shot. Brandon nearly knocked it a long 3, and that's the half. A half controlled by Shaquille O'Neal as BYU shot 28% as a team in the half. At the end of the first half, it's LSU 37 and BYU 30. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA tournament will continue after this message and a word from your local station. All things considered, BYU has to be happy to be within 7. Here's Andrea Joyce.
Well, Sean, Boise is listed as one of the safest cities in America. That is, of course, unless you have to face Shaquille O'Neal in the first round of the tournament. Actually, BYU feels pretty good about the way they've handled O'Neal. They would like to take it to him a little more. They're more concerned with their shooting, 27%. They feel like they're just a little bit out of sync and hoping to straighten that out in the second half. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Andrea. That's 27% from a very good shooting team that averages 50% from the floor for the season. Jamie Brandon with the first shot of the second half. The offensive rebound by Vernell Singleton. He had it batted away by Jared Miller.
Singleton, a player that has to produce for LSU. Loves to get in the air and double clutch. He's so open so many times on the offensive glass because O'Neal draws so much attention.
Nixon, that's a goaltend against Shaquille. He was bidding for his 7th blocked shot. Shaquille in the first half had 6 blocked shots, and he altered 6 others. A big reason why BYU shot 28% in the first half, 27.5% if you want to be precise.
Alonzo Mourning in the earlier game today had 6 block shots in the entire game. O'Neal 6 in the first half tonight.
Maurice Williamson continues hot. He leads all scorers now with 15 points. An 8-point edge for LSU. Their largest lead in the first half was 11. Nixon lost it on the floor to Caesar, who gave it back to Miller. Nixon open from the foul line for 2. 11 points for Kevin Nixon.
Caesar with the careless turnover there. LSU has to take better care of the ball to get offensive opportunities.
Foul called on the pass off. It's against Mark Heslop. He's one of a couple of players on the BYU team who is married, and it is an older BYU team relative to most college basketball teams because so many of the players go away for 2 years on a Mormon church mission. Heslop is 25 years old. He went to the Netherlands on a mission for 2 years. Brandon blocked by Nate Paul. Nixon pulls up and hits, and here come the Cougars back within 4.
Speaking of age, O'Neal's just 20 years of age. He's a junior in college. Caesar on the wing for LSU. He's a freshman. He is older than Shaquille O'Neal.
Another turnover by the Tigers. Heslop for three. Got it! For those of you who just watched Ohio State win, welcome to Boise. LSU had a 7-point lead at the half, but Mark Heslop has just hit a three-pointer, and BYU is within one. Before the break, we mentioned Ohio State's win. They join Alabama and North Carolina as the winners in the Southeast at Cincinnati today. Many of you will be seeing Nebraska and Connecticut, the final game of the day in Cincinnati, a bit later on tonight. And we still have another one here in Boise after this game. Indiana and Eastern Illinois on deck. All of a sudden, we have a one-point game here. LSU 40, BYU 39. And Shaquille O'Neal is fouled hard by Jared Miller. His third foul.
I think that's good strategy for BYU. Their big guys have so many fouls to waste. O'Neal just a 50% free throw shooter. Anytime he gets the ball, much like Wilt Chamberlain did in his career, he just draws so much attention. That play is almost assuredly going to be a dunk. Put him on the line and make a 15-foot shot rather than a layup.
Dale Brown has watched Shaquille go 2 for 3 from the line. That's the weakest part of his game. He's ordinarily a 50% free throw shooter.
But he is great in the clutch at the line.
Nixon gave it off to Miller. Nixon with the ball has all 6 BYU points here in the second half. Nate Call hits a three-pointer. And we begin again, tied at 42. What a difference a half makes. BYU 4 for 4 in the second half after shooting 28% from the floor in the first half.
I'm sure Roger Reed took the Cougars into the locker room at halftime and said, forget about O'Neal. Play your game. You've been in these games before. Beautiful pass, O'Neal.
To Vernell Singleton, who laid it in. 4 points for the senior from Natchez, Mississippi.
I think BYU has control of the tempo right now, Sean.
And Trost adds to your argument by knocking in the baseline, the foul line jumper.
They're hitting their outside shots. Their set offense is beautiful. LSU's set offense is struggling. Most of their plays have come in transition caused by great defense.
Hughes pass knocked away by Miller. BYU has never had the lead in this game till now. Mark Heslop a three-pointer. And the Cougars are up 47-44.
And give a lot of credit to Call, the backcourt ace for Brigham Young, finding the hot hand, delivering on the break.
TJQ. Caesar trying to answer the three. It falls out into the arms of Nate Call. Caesar, great hustle in a press row. At the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select the Chevrolet players of the game. In conjunction with the award, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. Nate Call on the floor now with Heslop, Trost, Nixon, and this is John Fish, who's just checked in for the first time for BYU. He tried to drop it down to Trost, but it was taken away by Caesar.
How many times did he pump fake? O'Neal just outweighted him.
Williamson scores again. Maurice Williamson having a night reminiscent of his father, John Williamson, the all-time leading scorer in New Jersey Nets history. Nixon missed a three. Williamson stumbled and gets called for the travel.
Dale Brown pondering the failures of his set offense, wishing his team could get into transition game. Williamson an opportunity there, a false start.
call. Foul from behind by Maurice Williamson. His second. That's the first foul against the Tigers here in the second half.
Second personal team foul 1 on LSU.
Williamson fouling from behind. You've got O'Neal underneath the basket. When he gets by you, let him go. Come in, get the long rebound, get in front of O'Neal's man. Play good, smart team defense.
Nate Call into the corner to Nixon. This pass went right through the legs of John Fish. 12 turnovers committed by BYU. Fish hustling to knock it away from O'Neal. John Fish, number 44, a sophomore from Salem, Oregon, dates the reigning Miss Utah, Elizabeth Johnson. John told me yesterday they're not officially engaged, but that is just a formality. Lobbed into O'Neal. 11 points for Shaquille O'Neal.
The strength and patience of O'Neal when he gets the ball in the paint area to wait, gather himself, and get in the air.
Foul called for a push on Caesar. The LSU fans wanted to travel against Trost. The foul on Caesar is his first.
Dale Brown can't believe that with the defensive effect O'Neal's had on this game, why are guys reaching in down low? O'Neal's knocking everything out of the building inside.
Nate Call. BYU is a completely different looking team here in the second half. 8 points for Call. The lead is 2 for the Cougars. Boudreau, short off the glass. O'Neal, the putback.
One of the few shots that he's made in this game. LSU needs to get into transition. But BYU's making all their shots now. You can't fast break out of the net. What a great block.
7 blocks. 3 shy of the single game NCAA tournament record.
The number one thing you want to do is fake one direction, go in the other, and get in the air. If you just go head up against O'Neal, he'll get that block every time.
Brandon with the steal and the lay-in to give LSU the lead. BYU 8 for 10 from the field this half after a 28% performance in the first half. Nixon the miss. Larson had his hands on the rebound. It was knocked out by Maurice Williamson. Caesar couldn't save it for the Tigers. This, of course, is the first game for Shaquille since the controversy in the SEC tournament. He was suspended for a game as a result of an incident against Tennessee. Shaquille says it was not a fighting episode because he did not throw a punch, but he did not play in the semifinals of the SEC tournament against Kentucky. Dale Brown said after that game he would encourage Shaquille to turn pro at the end of this year. Coach Brown modified that statement somewhat over the last couple of days. There's a charge called against Maurice Williamson. And Coach Brown won't have to modify the statement that he's giving. You saw him in the background to Tim Higgins, the official who made the call. This statement would be very clear and concise. But what Dale said to us yesterday was, if college basketball does not change the rule and eject players for an intentional foul, then he would encourage Shaquille to turn pro. He says Shaquille has been intentionally fouled by the opposition 18 times this year, and that's a dangerous situation with injury very much a possibility. 8 Call, short, rebounded by Boudreau.
And you think it's going to be any easier once he moves on to the next level? It's only going to get rougher. The players bigger and stronger will not be intimidated by O'Neal.
But if you get hurt there, the $30 million is already in the bank. Caesar tried to drop it off to Boudreau, and it was batted out of bounds by Larson and Trost, and here comes Shaquille back in after a short breather.
There's a lot of people 40, 50, 60 years of age who would make that decision. 20-year-olds, they don't think about $30 million. They think about having a good time in college.
Shaquille said that yesterday to us. He said, you can't worry about what you've never had. So the money is not an issue because it's not mine. Caesar. That's a 2. His foot was on the line. LSU up by 4 now with 12.5 minutes to play. Larson. Out comes Shaquille to affect the shot.
Excellent job by Boudreaux that time.
Brandon to Shaquille O'Neal. Timeout. BYU, they trail by 6. Sean McDonough and Bill Walton back in Boise, Idaho, where LSU has a 6-point lead. Following a slam dunk with a lob pass from Brandon to O'Neal. You talked about the need for LSU to get back into a transition game, 94-foot game, and we saw why right there.
It all starts with the defense. Nathan Call there just kicks the ball out of bounds. LSU's set offense not good at all this season on a general basis. In transition, they're brilliant. Jamie Brandon showing that he's practiced that lob pass. As when I went down to LSU to work with this team in O'Neal's second year, I said they'd all have to learn how to throw that pass.
O'Neal lost it to Call. Dale Brown looking for a foul. Trost blocked from behind by Boudreaux. Heslop short. And O'Neal batted it out to Caesar. Williamson the easy 2. 19 points for Maurice Williamson.
One thing that O'Neal has a bad habit of doing is staying too far underneath the basket. You cannot rebound the basketball from directly underneath. You need to be out on the court and then come back to the hoop, grab it aggressively.
Foul number 22, Clarence Caesar, second personal, team foul 4. BYU ball.
Welcome to those of you just joining us. Sean McDonough and Bill Walton at the Boise State Pavilion in Boise, Idaho, on the campus of Boise State University. BYU dressed in blue with the ball, trailing now by 8. Shaquille O'Neal with a block. That's his 8th block, too short of the NCAA single game tournament record. Trost takes it at O'Neal. Trost again. It wouldn't fall for him. He was fouled by Harold Boudreaux. LSU led by 7 at the half, as BYU shot 28% in the first half, but they've started to pick it up, have the Cougars. Shaquille O'Neal, very much the story of this one, with 15 points, 9 rebounds, and you can add a blocked shot, and the stat crew just credited with another block on that sequence. He has 9, one short of Sean Bradley's record in the tournament set last year.
It's really been a game of spurts. O'Neal dominated early. BYU totally intimidated. BYU comes out in the second half. They find their three-point shooting range. They get back in it, actually go up on top. Now the defense is starting to take the control of the game for LSU.
And welcome to those of you who have just watched Duke beat Campbell in Greensboro. The first trip to the tournament for the Camels, as expected, a short one. Foul called, and it's going against Shaquille O'Neal. And that's his 3rd with 10:48 still remaining in the game. LSU with a 6-point lead at 58-52.
A very difficult call. O'Neal is so big and so strong, even when he makes a simple move, a non-fouling move to the hoop, a smaller player will get knocked out of the way.
Sanderson hits a 3. Nick Sanderson with 12 points on 4 3-pointers. The lob into O'Neal. Double team. Heslop got to handle the pass. Williamson fouled, would have counted had it gone down. Heslop committed the foul, his 3rd. Later tonight on CBS here in Boise, Eastern Illinois against Indiana. Many of you will see Connecticut against Nebraska, an 8-9 game. And Iowa and Texas, another matchup that has been talked about as a very competitive first round affair.
Good look at Nathan Call there, but these free throws are going to be a result of good ball movement by LSU. When they throw that entry pass into O'Neal, when they float it up in the air and he has to leave the ground to go and get it, and it's a soft, slow pass, that allows the defense to just move in, collapse, push O'Neal off the box, forcing LSU into bad set offense.
60-55, the Tigers with the lead as we approach the midpoint of the second half. This is Mark Santiago, who's checked in for Nate Call at the point. And now Mark Heslop. Santiago is from a BYU family. His father, Frank, is the assistant to the Dean of Continuing Education at BYU. That's Jared Miller with just his third and fourth points of the game. And it's a three-point lead for LSU. Brandon bounced it down to the baseline. Singleton kicked it out, and Caesar, a two-point field goal. 7 points for Clarence Caesar, the freshman from Iowa, Louisiana.
BYU should keep attacking O'Neal. He's got 3 fouls.
Caesar attacked Heslop and picked up the foul, his third.
O'Neal allows his man or anybody in the low post to receive the ball so easily. So much of your defense is played before your man ever gets the ball. If you let your man receive, he's going to have opportunity after opportunity to go to the hoop. You're going to make a couple of mistakes along the way. The refs are going to make a couple of mistakes along the way. You're going to be in serious foul trouble.
Does Shaquille allow them to accept the pass easily because of his confidence in his ability to block the shots?
Most definitely. When you're 20 years old and you're built like Shaquille O'Neal, you think you're invincible. You think you can do anything. He might be right.
I'm convinced, especially after watching this performance tonight. Mark Heslop, an excellent student at BYU, a 3.5 grade point average in finance for Mark. He's a two-time member of the WAC All-Academic team. The second one wouldn't go, but Miller followed and missed. He has been completely psyched out tonight underneath by the presence of Shaquille O'Neal. Caesar, a little bit long. Brandon went over the back of Heslop, and Jamie Brandon is whistled for the foul, his second. We've moved into the evening in all the time zones, so let's bring you up to date with what's happening around the country in this first day of the tournament. In the East, all the higher seeded teams have won: Duke, Missouri, and Seton Hall. Missouri and Seton Hall each had a struggle. Texas and Iowa, the one remaining game tonight in Greensboro. Hopefully the power will stay on. Heslop at the line. In the Midwest at Milwaukee, Memphis State fought off a second half charge from Pepperdine. Arkansas beat Murray State. Georgia Tech and Houston underway.
Kevin Nixon in the lineup for BYU.
Kevin Nixon returns with his club trailing by 2, and that Houston-Georgia Tech game is a tight one. A 2-point game with under 3 minutes to play. Here it's a 2-point game with just over 9 minutes remaining. Brandon got a pick from Singleton. Didn't get the bounce. O'Neal will follow. Shaquille now with 17 points.
Such great strength and balance. Trost has to keep working, cannot get frustrated or discouraged.
Trost picked it out to Santiago for 3. It's a 1-point game. LSU with the lead with 8:35 to play. Shaquille, short, rebounded by Trost. The Cougars with a chance to take the lead.
Good defense by BYU that time, forcing O'Neal to take the perimeter shot.
Nixon for 3. Singleton the rebound. BYU 6 of 9 from the 3-point line in this half. Williamson. He has had a terrific night for the Tigers. 24 points for Maurice Williamson, who came into tonight averaging 7.3 points per game. This is by far his season high. Jared Miller answered at the other end. He now has 6.
Excellent post passing by Trost himself.
Blocked is O'Neal, the catch and score.
Very difficult job for Miller and Trost down low. They're doing as well as they can. That lob pass got to be a little higher, though. O'Neal did that on the way down.
LSU by 4. We're approaching 7 minutes remaining here in the first round of West Region action in Boise, Idaho. Trost off the leg of Miller and out of bounds. Shaquille O'Neal, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 9 blocks. We're back in a moment. One game remaining here in Boise today following the LSU-BYU contest. It's Indiana against Eastern Illinois, the 2 seed against the 15 seed. Many of you will be seeing that action. We're under 7 minutes to play, and LSU has the ball and a 4-point lead. Paul Marshall has checked in for the Tigers wearing number 25. He's in the backcourt with Jamie Brandon. It's Boudreau, Caesar, and Hammock up front as Shaquille O'Neal is on the bench with his club leading by 4.
This could be trouble for LSU right now. Resting Shaquille O'Neal, trying to keep him out of foul trouble, run some time off the clock, but when you take the steam out of your offense, start slowing it down, that could be trouble.
Hammock says, I can pick up right where Shaquille left off. His first bucket of the night. Nixon for 3. Sanderson couldn't get it up, but Jared Miller did get it to the basket. He has 8, the junior from Fielding, Utah. Foul called in the backcourt against Jared Miller. For those of you just joining us, welcome to Boise, Idaho. First round action of the West region. Shaquille O'Neal checks back in for the white-clad LSU Tigers. Sean McDonough with Bill Walton. LSU leads by 4, 71-67. Hammock takes a seat with 5:51 left in the game. LSU led by 7 at the half. BYU fought back to take a 3-point lead, their only lead in this game here in the second half. But LSU got it back to a 94-foot game for a while and reclaimed the lead. But again, the pace is slowing. Georgia Tech comes back in the final moments to beat Houston.
And that slow pace really favors BYU. Get the LSU Tigers into set offense, capitalize on their weak outside shooting, and then BYU will go at the other end, get it into the post, and kick it back out to 3-point land.
Possible problem for BYU as Trost has picked up his 4th. O'Neal scores. And to those of you just joining us, we welcome you to Boise, where Shaquille O'Neal has just scored for LSU to give them a 6-point lead. And that block ties Shaquille O'Neal with Sean Bradley of BYU for the single game NCAA tournament record, 10 block shots. Bradley did it for the Cougars last year in a first-round game against Virginia.
Again, O'Neal with a great block, but allowing a player like Larson to get in that deep, you're just running the risk of picking up your 4th foul, which could turn the entire complexion of this game.
Williamson lays it in. 26 for Maurice Williamson. He and O'Neal have been the show for LSU tonight. The 26 points, 6 better than his season high during the regular season against Arkansas. He had 20. O'Neal now with 21 points, 12 rebounds, and those 10 blocks make it 11. He has the record all to himself.
Great defense. Nixon has to get by 2 guys, and then O'Neal just cleans up. Keep the ball in play, O'Neal. Don't put it into the bleachers.
Larson, Shaquille came out on him, but Russell Larson dropped it in over Shaquille. 6 points for Larson. And that's the margin for LSU. 75-69, 4:40 to play. Williamson. The skip to Caesar. Guarded tightly by Nixon. Hommick off balance. Rebounded by Nixon. That's not the shot Dale Brown is looking for.
Hommick is an excellent player, and playing against O'Neal every day helps him a lot.
Nixon's three tipped in by Russell Larson. So here come the Cougars again, now down by 4. 8 points for Larson. Larson makes good use of his leaping ability. He was 3rd in the state in high school, the state of Utah, in the high jump at 6'6". Hommick shoots again. O'Neal gets the bucket and a chance for a 3-point play.
The collapsing defense on O'Neal. Battles through 2 guys. Tremendous power. Nothing to do to stop that play. Interesting to see later on if O'Neal plays against Alonzo Mourning in a later round of this tournament. How much power O'Neal will be able to exert over Alonzo Mourning, who's incredibly powerful himself.
O'Neal with the miss. He's 3 for 5 from the line tonight. Nixon collides with O'Neal. That's number 4 on Shaquille O'Neal.
Partisan BYU crowd doesn't want this. They want to see O'Neal in the game. Looked to me like he had good position. He's standing right there. But BYU's strategy is to go at O'Neal every time. Take a foul yourself. Dale Brown needs to get himself under control.
Dale committed to follow the assistant coach who had good position. Nixon's first free throw falls off. The second one is good, and there's a timeout on the floor with 3:48 to play, and LSU leading by 5. Welcome back to Boise, where LSU enjoys a 5-point lead over BYU with 3:48 to play.
LSU ball.
Shaquille O'Neal has been brilliant, but he's playing with 4 fouls.
I think it's a good move to leave O'Neal in the lineup right now, but what he has to do is relax on defense and not try to make every play. Concentrate on offense when you've got the 4 fouls, when you're not going to pick up a foul. But he is often called for offensive fouls. He is so big and so strong, trying to bull his way to the basket.
Shaquille picked up his 3rd foul with 10:48 left in the second half. His 4th foul came at 3:48 remaining. He went 7 minutes between fouls, but that 4th one is a large one.
Now BYU, sensing that LSU is going to play the clock to save O'Neal, they've gone into a trap of their own.
And O'Neal takes advantage. He now has 25 to go along with 13 rebounds and a tournament record 11 blocked shots. LSU by 7. That was the Tigers' lead at the half. Trost tried to bounce it to Larson. It was knocked away by Vernell Singleton. Connecticut and Nebraska underway as TJ Pugh returns for Jamie Brandon. It's Pugh and Williamson in the backcourt, Singleton, O'Neal, and Caesar the front court. Now here comes Hommick back into the game for Singleton.
O'Neal's done a good job of recognizing that BYU's going to play position defense and force him to shoot the ball. He's concentrating on that rather than dunking.
Heslop, an NBA 3. 14 points for Mark Heslop, the senior from Ogden, Utah. And the lead is 4 for LSU as we're under 3 minutes to play.
These very short guards, Pugh and Williamson for LSU, could be in trouble against this large and aggressive trapping defense for BYU.
Williamson, that was a 2-point try. Hommick fouled by Larson. Well, Hommick has given Dale Brown some production off the bench. 4 fouls now. Make it 3 fouls now on Russell Larson. Team foul number 7. Not an issue here as Hammock will shoot 2.
When I went down to LSU to work with O'Neal and the team, I said that one of the most important people on this entire team is Hammock, and his ability to work O'Neal every day in practice and really push him to be the best player he could possibly become.
Hammock leaves after pushing the lead back to 6. Singleton replaced him. Nate Call on the floor with Heslop, Sanderson, Larson, and Trost. It's a 3-guard lineup for Roger Reed. Larson, that time Shaquille laid off, and Larson still missed.
At this point, O'Neal has blocked so many shots, all he has to do now is look, and they're going to start thinking about altering their shot.
Ticking down toward 2 minutes remaining. LSU with the ball at a 6-point lead. The winner of this one meets the winner of the Indiana-Eastern Illinois game. Coming up next, Shaquille was fouled. If that's on Trost, he's out of the game, and it is. Gary Trost has just fouled out with 8 points. And 6 rebounds tonight for the junior from Salt Lake City, who didn't play much last year. He backed up Sean Bradley. This year, he's a first-team all-WAC center. In the on-deck circle here in Boise, Eastern Illinois, and Indiana. Connecticut and Nebraska are underway. That's the menu. Still to come on CBS this evening. Well, this is only a little bit better than average night for Shaquille. He came into the game averaging 23.6 points per game, 14 rebounds a game, and 5 blocks. He's well over the 5 blocks with 11. LSU by 7, under 2 minutes to play. Nick Sanderson for 3. Long. Larson batted it out of bounds.
Perfect example there of O'Neal too far underneath the basket, having to jump back for the ball. You want to be out on the floor and jump toward the basket.
Dale Brown substituting Singleton and Hammock. Singleton when they go on offense. He brings Hammock in for defense. Hugh cross court to Williamson. And he's fouled quickly by Nick Sanderson. 2 fouls on Sanderson, the junior from Pasadena, California. BYU calls timeout. The Cougars trail by 7. Here in Boise, LSU enjoys a 7-point lead under 2 minutes to play. BYU down to its final timeout. Each foul will result in a 2-shot opportunity for the opposition the rest of the way. The arrow points at BYU. Williamson with point number 27. "31 points is Maurice Williamson's career high. That's 28. The largest lead for LSU was 11. It's 9 now. Heslop. Rebounded by Williamson. 2-on-1 break. And Q fouled on the floor by Nathan Call.
Now number 23, Nathan Call, second personal. Team foul 9. Correction, team foul 10.
Good look at Dale Brown there. If they hold on and win this game with a 9-point lead, 1:30 to go, with 2 free throws to shoot, they're looking at a possible matchup with Indiana. Great opportunity there to see 2 of the legendary coaches in the history of college basketball, Dale Brown and Bob Knight.
They've had an interesting relationship in the past.
They've only met twice before, both times in the playoffs.
Q. has just matched BYU's largest lead. Rather, LSU's largest lead, 86-75. Sanderson with another three, his fifth. All 15 of his points have come from behind the three-point line. And the quick foul call hit Pugh in the backcourt. Coming up following this game, Indiana takes on Eastern Illinois. Yesterday, Coach Bobby Knight didn't seem very optimistic about his team's chances in the tournament.
I don't think that this team right now compares to any of the teams that we've had that have really done well in the tournament.
An interesting comment. They struggled down the stretch.
Yes, they did struggle, but a lot of coaches will try to put pressure on their team to bring them back up. You don't ever want to accept mediocre play, which Indiana is sort of playing at that level right now, but he is a master psychologist. He being Bob Knight, he will do whatever he can to bring his team to the top. I would bet that he's privately very positive with them.
10-point lead for LSU as we approach a minute remaining. Call. Hurries up the three. And the quick foul. Sanderson hit Williamson in the corner. We're in a beautiful city, Boise, Idaho, the city of trees. Site of first-round action in the West region of the Boise State Pavilion on the campus of Boise State University. It's the 7th-seeded LSU Tigers with a 7-point lead over the number 10 seed in the West, BYU, with 54.5 seconds to play. LSU dressed in white. We're dressed in a jacket and tie. Sean McDonough with Bill Walton and Andrea Joyce. Williamson undoubtedly making his father John very proud. We mentioned his dad, the all-time leading scorer in New Jersey Nets history, had his number retired by the Nets earlier this year. John unfortunately doesn't get to see Maurice play very much because he's really struggling with kidney problems. Frequently has to undergo dialysis treatment. LSU calls a timeout. The Tigers are up by 9, under a minute to play in Boise. BYU trails by 9. Under a minute to play here in Boise. LSU 90, BYU 81. Nixon, a long three. O'Neal batted it out to Pugh. Williamson unselfishly gave it up to Caesar for the slam. Williamson is 1 point short of his career high. He has 30, his career best 31, but he gave it off to Caesar. Miller off the hands of Hommick to Heslop. Off the foot of O'Neal to a crowd. And a held ball. BYU ball.
We thought that because of BYU's age and maturity that they would not be as intimidated by O'Neal as most teams are in college basketball. When you watch them play out here, every time they get the ball in the paint area, their eyes are at him. They have to learn how to play regardless of who's in the game on the other side.
Shaquille O'Neal leaves to a rousing ovation from the Tiger fans. He departs with 26 points, 13 rebounds, and the record number of block shots, 11. Nixon scores at a quick timeout, the final timeout called by BYU. Those are the numbers for Shaquille O'Neal. The most important number, LSU 92, BYU 83. LSU seconds away from advancing to the second round here in the West region. They lead by 9. Hommick puts the finishing touches on the LSU victory. The final score, LSU 94 and BYU 83. The Chevrolet players of the game are Kevin Nixon of BYU with 16 points and 6 rebounds, and Shaquille O'Neal for LSU, 26 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 blocked shots, a tournament record. Georgetown, Florida State, and LSU, the winners here in the West today. The Tigers await the winner of the Indiana-Eastern Illinois game coming up next here in Boise. Now for Bill Walton and Andrea Joyce, Sean McDonough saying so long from Boise State Pavilion. Here's Jim Nance.